The Hawaii Credit Union League would like to welcome you to Cognitive Collaboration, how AI, artificial intelligence, and humans will collaborate to drive our future. My name is Sandeep Kapoor, and I'm an educator with Digital Credence. The Hawaii Credit Union League would like to recognize FIS for sponsoring this education. So it's about cognitive collaboration. AI, humans, but it's about collaboration. Let's see how this works. It all starts with data. It's the information we have. So if we're trying to find the distance from point A to point B, or the best possible way to go from point A to point B, just like you would do with your map application, you put it in, you press a button, and what the system does next is it looks at all the permutations and combinations. It looks at the best possible path based on your preferences and comes back to you in real time and says, you need to take a left and then a right, or this is what you need to do to get to your destination. But it all starts with the analysis of data. So let's see how this works. Machines and human, we have to mix analytics and empathy. So you start with data and you start automating the process. The concept of RPA, robotic process automation, is the automation of these menial tasks. And I say the word menial not to put anybody down, but why should an intelligent human have to go over and over and try to trace and do the same things? It's sort of like a cut and paste. Why do we even need to do that? Why can we not build an intelligent sequence of process automation that is RPA, or robotic process automation? Over time, you start seeing that the machine can be trained to understand your preferences. In simple terms, I'll give you the example. If you tend to go to a particular website, the minute you start typing that website on your browser, what your browser starts remembering is that those are your functions. My parents use an Alexa type device to turn music on for them every morning. They follow that up with the news, and then they want to know about the weather. That machine, over time, has learned that these are three sequence events that these people go through, and that is what machine learning is all about. Now, as you take this even further, you have the concept of deep learning. And deep learning is understanding nodes, understanding preferences. Perhaps it's a machine you're playing chess against. It understands different aspects to come back to you and present to you options. The ultimate sensation here is that have we achieved AI, or artificial intelligence? But again, keep in mind, it's a progression. It starts with data, and it is bringing together analytics and empathy, helping the consumer or helping the financial institution make the right decision. When you look at data, we actually have access to information. We have access to really useful information. Every time the member we serve interacts with us, we collect data, whether it is the contact center they are calling in from, or the automated attendant that they interact with. Their ATM transactions, their on us and not on us transactions at other ATMs. It's that kiosk they interact with. The branch, when they come in, how much time they spend, what did they do with us? And of course, mobile and online. We have the opportunity to capture so much of this data, and we do have it. The challenge we run into is how do we leverage this data to connect back and serve that consumer effectively? They're telling us, know me so you can serve me. So that also takes out the creepy element, which means that I am telling you, I am collecting information about you so that I can protect you and serve you in the best possible way, efficiently, and do so with your best interest in mind. I say this, we have access to information, yet we struggle with basic tasks. So if I as a consumer go and use an ATM, why do I have to choose my language and what I want to do? Why can you not anticipate and ask me if I want $60 and know that I always interact with the machine in English? From basic steps to a lot more, think about the 5 important steps as far as data and data collection and data usage is concerned. Step 1 is the collection of data. Us knowing where all the data is stored, we collect the data, we start normalizing the data. Step 2 is validation. So as we start normalizing the data, we need to start seeing and deciding, is the data correct? How often do I need to update it? How do I make sure that it's available to my channels so they can interact with the member to make sure that it is being used effectively? Step 3 is visualization, which is the reporting, the analytics. And unfortunately, most big data projects stop right there, which is in reporting and analytics. But keep in mind, we want to use predictive. And predictive means, could we use the data to make a prediction about what that particular member would want to do next? Can we not anticipate their next transaction? And let me give you a few things of what prediction is not. Wishing a member a happy birthday, that's not predictive. You have access to that data, and if their birthday is on the 17th of August, you wish them on the 17th of August. If they have a certificate of deposit that is coming due, you reach out to them 3 months before, 60 days before, etc., to get them to renew on that certificate of deposit. That is not predictive. What predictive is taking the information and making inferences based on collective bias or individual bias, tracking the needs, trying to see perhaps that we are losing members. The reason we may be losing members or churning these members is because we notice a trend amongst those that we lost. We find that the amount of deposits came down, the amount of interactions, logins into mobile banking came down. There are certain member service issues, red flags that went up. We start consolidating those. Now what we do is we apply those principles to all the good accounts and we say, are we facing some of those challenges there? So we now have a list of people who we might predict or predict that they might leave us. What good is knowing who might leave us if we do not do something prescriptive? So if you think about data, think about all your channels, think about collecting it, validating it, visualizing it, predicting, and acting upon that data. But the biggest part of this is providing access to the right people and the right channels at the right time so they can engage and serve the member effectively. And think about the member that is being served effectively. Most of the transactions that member does are being done on mobile devices. Take us out of the equation for just a moment. Let us not think about the financial institution. Let's think about how we wake up. We wake up because of the alarm on our phone. We then look at the news. We look at those messages that we have. We check social media. We take pictures. We shop online. We take a look at updates. We even check in on those work emails. We log into our mobile banking. We interact that way. Why can we not make sure that the member we serve is served on this little device? And if you think about this little device, remember, it doesn't have much as far as real estate is concerned. It's not a large screen TV that we put everything on it. We have to learn to focus. Think about you planning a vacation. When you're planning a vacation, you don't just say, I want to go on vacation, and all the options come back to you. Those good travel sites start knowing and understanding what you need, where you went last time. They start assimilating all of that data, and then they start giving you options based on what your click preference is, your past history is, or perhaps what you have expressed an interest in. The ability to narrow down and focus and leverage this mobile device is driven through data. It's analyzing, knowing where you are. And essentially, when I know where you are, I can come to you with a specific offer, make it contextual so that indeed I am serving you effectively. From simple things that do not require authentication, like allowing the member to see where your ATM location might be, to a real-time receipt, to an alert that tells them about a transaction, we need to harness the member's dependence on this device by coming through effectively. Mobility means that the member is on the go. We need to be able to serve them effectively wherever they are, but also realize that we are empowered by so much of context. All of this context is driven by the adaptive cloud. And if you think about the adaptive cloud is, think of it as your personal cloud that tracks you, moves with you, and has got the ability to serve you with what you need when you need it. It's not taking all the data, but it's taking the right amount of data and interacting with you effectively. I want to introduce you, or perhaps give you a simpler explanation for these three terms, because these three terms go a long way in terms of getting us to think about the larger problem that needs to be solved. We hear the word cloud computing, and the ability to keep data in the cloud, use that data effectively to serve our members is extremely important. I still hear a lot of people who say that, hey, I am not ready to take all my information and put it out in the cloud. And I simply ask those people this one question: where do you think mobile banking sits? It sits in the cloud. Why don't we make sure that we have a strategy to enable our consumer, our members' access to this data via their mobile device, whether they are in the branch, in our store, or if they are at their home? We want to deliver on that type of effectiveness. And the way this works is, think of edge computing. You hear this terminology about edge computing, and essentially, if I want to know the answer to 5 frequently asked questions that are frequently asked by other users, or perhaps they are my 5 favorite transactions, Why does every query need to go into the heart of the cloud, the heart of the database, the heart of the system? Everything gets computed and spat back out to the user. That takes time. So the concept of edge computing is to keep some of the data, the answers on the edge, so you don't have to go into the middle of the box, the middle of the circle, the middle of the cloud to find that information. You keep it on the edge, you make it available quickly, and then, of course, if you need to do more, that is what takes time. The third aspect is about RESTful APIs. And the whole concept of RESTful APIs is making sure that everything is done with agility, just like the internet. Hey, I want to know the latest news. Where do I go for that? I want to know the top 5 headlines as far as business news is concerned. How do I go and I find that? Essentially, it's an on, off, delete, open, copy switch for the internet. I have used simple business explanations for cloud computing, edge computing, and RESTful APIs. But keep in mind that this is the strategy that defines our future in terms of what needs to be done, because that cognitive collaboration between humans and machines comes because of the ability to quickly process data, but ultimately it is the human that delivers on that empathy and makes that decision. So as we talk about humans making these decisions, I want to talk about what is going on in the world of artificial intelligence, what is going on with AI and chatbots. But as I start this off, I know Erica, which was launched by Bank of America, has made a dramatic impact. What it has done is it has simplified the number of steps it takes for a consumer to get an answer to a question. It has also started remembering that consumer's behavior so it can come back to the consumer with even more personalized offerings. And if you read the impact Erica has online, the number one thing Erica has done as it has made mobile digital banking much more efficient for one of the largest banks in the United States. Now, what can we learn from this? What can we take back to our members and deliver a personalized and perhaps a better than Erica experience? I want to introduce you to two other chatbots. Meet Faith, who works for an insurance company. Faith works 24/7, answers questions, resolves problems, makes suggestions, does it all one to one and is personalized. Faith sits on the website taking care of issues on a regular basis and assisting their customers before they can talk to a human. Now, there are times when Faith is not able to answer the question, but what happens next is it is transferred over to a human with context. So the human can then make the decision and have all the facts so they can serve the consumer effectively. And I'll take this from this $1 billion plus company to a smaller credit union, Community First Credit Union. And if you think of the subtlety where you can see Community First, just look at the earrings that are worn by their persona Maggie. It says Community First CF. And what this chatbot has done is it engages with empathy. It answers questions with empathy. It logs you in. It takes care of transactions. I had an opportunity to transact with this chatbot. I ask questions about where is your closest branch? It knows where I am and it didn't log me in to give me that answer. If I want to pay a bill, it simply gets me to log in. I can pay the usual amount. I can automate things and I can take it further. Perhaps one of the best conversations I've had with an AI bot went as follows. I logged in and I said, "Hey, can you help me?" The bot came back to me and said, "Of course, that's why I'm here." I said, "Do you offer credit cards?" The bot replied, "Yes, we offer three types of cards: a starter card, a card with low interest, and a high rewards card." I asked, "How long will it take?" It replied, 10 minutes, and I can even get you started. I quickly asked and said, uh, is it going to cost me anything? And the chatbot replied, "No, I can speed the entire process up." I said, "You are smart." The machine replied, "Thank you, I'm here to serve you." I said, "I think I'm in love." The machine replied, "Love is a great feeling." I even made it more specific. I told the machine, "I think I'm in love with you." When it responded, "Don't you think it's too soon for that?" Think about this. Analytics, empathy, it all needs to come together. We see a lot taking place in our world of AI, our world of computing. It all comes together through the device via the cloud, but it is powered by data. Remember one key principle: all the information, all the transactions, they all leave a lasting footprint online. We have to make sure that we are providing the right information. Our reputation online needs to be protected. Our reputation is eternal. And if you want to think about how machines and AI collaborate, do read this article. It is published on CU Insight. It will give you more insight as you think about your bot strategy and also about how you can leverage AI to do so much more. My sincerest thanks to the Hawaii Credit Union League for bringing all of us together, and to FIS for sponsoring this education.